Hello, welcome back. Happy belated Thanksgiving? Is that a thing? Is belated only for birthdays? I can't go picture in picture 10 seconds in to look it up, but belated Thanksgiving, we're going for it. Hope everyone enjoyed the holiday. Took the day off from streaming, but we are live every weekday, barring any holidays or nonsense. Pretty much here all the time, so check it out. Got the Twitch channel going. That's the best place to watch. If you're watching this on YouTube, I definitely want you to join in on the Twitch. It's more fun live. It's more fun to be able to chat with everyone that's watching. I like the YouTube as a backup plan for people that can't make it live. And you can comment on there and we'll talk about it the next day. But definitely the Twitch is the place to be. So thank you if you're watching. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MikeTheMush Sports. You get more in-the-moment takes of all the nonsense stuff that's happening and me complaining about referees during the Cowboys game yesterday on Thanksgiving after I ate all my food and recorded a podcast with my family, the Link Podcast, if you're interested in that. Did a Would You Rather Thanksgiving edition. Comes out on Monday. So check that out at the Link_podcast. It's available on Apple, Spotify, everywhere. So, yeah. Back to the refs thing. I mean, we had an official turkey leg pick. I wanted to go big on Thanksgiving, and I really was so confident in it. Lions teased up to plus 10 at home against the Bears. They cover. They almost win outright. I thought they should have. And then Cowboys down to a pick 'em home against the Raiders. What happened? You can't lose this game. What's with the Cowboys? I should have known. I said, don't trust Mike McCarthy on a short week. That's the only thing that made me worry. But he was facing a coach that also hasn't been a head coach for more than a month. I figured it would be equal, if nothing else, and the talent disparity is huge. And Waller gets hurt. They still can't win. I mean, Carr had nobody to throw to and still found a way. I guess Dallas is just too banged up to trust right now. They can't do it without Lawrence and Gregory on the line. They have no pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Their secondary was never anything to write home about, just opportunistic when they did get pressure. Cowboys just took too long to get going offensively, though. I don't even blame the defense necessarily. We knew that they were going to have a hard time because they're so banged up. But they just didn't score for the first quarter and a half. And I don't know why. It was a lot of punts. We'll go into it in a second, but the Raiders are just a weird team. I guess they're just a stay away from this team kind of thing now. And maybe the Cowboys are too, honestly. That was wild, and now I've seen them twice at home throw up stinkers against teams that they are way better than. Hurt, not hurt, whatever. Dak has to shred them. And everyone will look at Dak's stats and say, oh, he was good. He was a good time. No. He really wasn't. A lot of that came when they were already down to a Raiders team that can't really defend, and they clawed back into it and should have and could have won. But I got a stat for you that I really didn't like. And then I'll get past this. It's another football loss. Our NBA picks are red hot. Our football picks are up and down. Going to try to get back on the train this week with some things I really like and trust. 3 different picks. We got a 3-pack. 3 picks today. That'll come at the end of the stream after we break down every football game. But look at this. Look at this. Here we go. Let me put it right at the top for you. Bang, bang. I'll highlight it. Oh, no. We don't want to highlight the whole thing. We just want this. Penalties! 28 of them. 28 penalties for 276 yards combined for both teams. I'm not necessarily complaining that it was worse for one or the other, although Dallas did get crushed on penalties in much worse times than Vegas did. That's just fact. And 56 more yards in penalties, which is half a field in a full drive. But this is just too many penalties. It's just too much. I don't need refs calling all these penalties, and a lot of them were calls that are like in the defensive backfield that can be called or not called on a lot of different plays. Same thing with holding. You can choose how you want to monitor this game. Same way in basketball, if there's a ton of fouls, It's probably not because the teams are just hacking very much. It's because the refs are calling it tight. And the refs called this one really tight for a shootout game on national TV. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Stop with all these flags. I mean, Anthony Brown, Cowboys corner, got called 4 times for pass interference, all of which on third down. I'm not saying to let every penalty go. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. I get it. But 28? It's way too many. We had 145 plays in this game and 28 penalties. That's 1 out of every 6 plays is a penalty, pretty much. More than that. That is completely nonsensical. Even if it's 10%, I feel like that's a lot. This is wild. It's too much. It's just too much. And I don't want to spend a ton of time going into these Thursday games because we have a lot to cover for the Friday games, but we have to talk about it. Because I'm not just complaining because I think the Cowboys should have won. I think they shot themselves in the foot in many ways aside from the penalties. But it was really glaring. And even on the last drive, where is it? Tie game. We go to overtime. Cowboys go 3 and out. What happens here? That's what happens, right. Kickoff. They get it to the 2. Great kick in the corner, so they couldn't take a touchback. So that was good. Pollard had already returned one for a touchdown, though. So he's rolling. Shut off the autoplay. He gets to the 13, and then you get an illegal block in the back. And it's like, now they're pinned inside at their own 7, and you already know this is going to go really poorly. And then on first down, you got to pass it to 1 yard out to Zeke. What are we doing? You're on the 7, a 1 yard out. Just run it at that point. Then, again, same play, short to Zeke. They get 4, and it's 3rd and 4 backed up into their own zone. Dak has an easy completion, rolls out. Great play call. I'll give Mike McCarthy credit where I can because I usually take it from him. Who knows if he called it? Probably Kellen Moore. Rolls out, misses him completely, and we know the game's over. And then all the nonsense at the end of the game. How about 2nd and 11, Carr sacked, 3rd and 18, 33-yard pass interference. This is probably the game. Vegas already got away with one where Dallas goes 3 and out. If they give the ball back, the ball's at the Vegas 43. They're going to give them another start from their own 20, and all they need is a field goal to end the game. You get a DPI. I didn't think this was DPI. He didn't turn around, but guess what? It's not automatically pass interference if you don't turn around. What if the guy's 10 yards down the field and catches a touchdown? It doesn't matter. There was no contact. You can put your hands up and get in someone's face and not turn around. It's not a penalty. You just can't hurt him and tackle him and get there before the ball gets there. I didn't see any contact. I just think the ref saw him not turn around and threw the flag immediately, which they did all night. And it was just, it kills the game. It just turns the game into nonsense and chaos. And so I'm not blaming the Cowboys' loss on it. Cowboys need to be much, much better through the first 3 quarters. I mean, look at their first couple drives. Punt. Then they score a touchdown. They miss a freaking extra point, which comes back to bite them eventually. They did get a 2-point conversion to make up for it. But you got 1 punt. This is a 3-and-out punt, a 3-and-out punt, a 4-and-out punt. All on the first 4 drives. That's it. And then you miss a field goal. That's it. Not to mention they punt. How many times did they punt in this game? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 7 times they punted, including 3 out of the first 4 drives. That's really bad. You're supposed to be a great offense. I know Lamb didn't play, Cooper didn't play. I understand, but you still have 2 great backs. You got a good tight end you trust. Gallup is fine, and if Dak is the guy, Dak is the guy. You can't. This is nonsensical. 2 3-and-outs on the first 4 drives, and the non 3-and-out was. How did they get the first down? Defensive pass interference. So basically, it's 3 3-and-outs out of the first 4 drives. It's just, that's where you lose the game. Don't cry to me about all the refs later. I mean, I'm crying about the refs because it's a knock on the sport. It hurts my ability to watch. And this game apparently blew out all ratings for any game since like 1990 or something. And this is what people saw. And you're like, oh my God. I wonder how people feel, like casual fans. Also, I talked constantly about how the Raiders were missing Ruggs and that 50-yard pass down the field. And, of course, they get one from Deshaun Jackson. I should have known that he kills the Cowboys. Not that I ever would have thought of that, but this was a difference maker. There were a lot of, like, weird things that happened in this game. And Vegas is 6-5 all of a sudden. Like, they're not going to win a Super Bowl, but they are really a spoiler. And it's to the point where you can't just fade them, I guess. I've always liked Derek Carr. And I was on the Raiders bandwagon for a while early in this season until all the nonsense happened. But this Dallas team just drops games they shouldn't drop. This removes Dallas from the Super Bowl conversation to me. I'm willing to say it. I cannot possibly trust Dallas to win a Super Bowl when they lose at home to Denver. They don't show anything against a Kansas City defense that's really banged up. And they get beat on Thanksgiving at home against a spiraling Raiders team. Cowboys are good, and I know they're really hurt, and they will get better as they get healthier, but there is no excuse for running for 3.2 yards per carry against this Vegas team who looked like they gave up on their season 2 weeks ago. And you actually got a ton of production from Gallup and Cedric Wilson, so what really is the problem? And you put up 33 points. Your defense gets shredded, and you were just too slow to start. I mean, even if the defense does get shredded because they're injured and have no pass rush, you still probably should have put up more than 33. I know that's asking a lot, but those first couple drives, they just started too slow. And that's on Mike McCarthy. I can't trust Mike McCarthy in a big playoff game against a good team where he's going to get outcoached constantly. So I'm way more out on the Cowboys than I was before. I just can't trust them, no matter what the game is. And some of that is coaching, and some of it is injuries, and whatever it is. But look at the schedule. I mean, they got at the Saints. I don't know. Are they going to handle the Saints in primetime? I don't even know. Saints get blown out by the Bills. If they come back and compete with the Cowboys, it's like, yeah, I don't know what the Cowboys do. Some weeks they look good. Some weeks they don't. That's too much for me to bank on. I like to at least know what I'm getting from teams, or try to. So, anyway, we went out of order, but can't trust Mike McCarthy. Moral of the story. I've been saying Dak's a little overrated for a long time, but I can't put this blame on him. He actually looked good. But slow start. Can't do it, especially when you have all those weapons and you have the double-pronged running attack. It's weird. Okay. Bears, Lions. Andy Dalton is not good. We know the Lions aren't good, but man, they can't win a game where Jared Goff goes 21 for 25. Where they really got screwed is Swift got hurt. He didn't play much. He touched the ball 6 times, got hurt early, and they would have won this game with DeAndre Swift. I have no doubt in my mind, because the Bears couldn't run the ball at all. 2.3 yards per carry. Montgomery has never really been a good running back, if you ask me, and he just keeps that job. Who knows why. Mooney's really good for the Bears. I started him in fantasy. He's awesome. He really is awesome. I think he's already better than Allen Robinson, even when he's healthy, which he never is. And Cole Kmet can play tight end. Like, there's some building blocks here for the future, but this is a disappointing game for the Bears. I mean, you come out with a win. And it's more disappointing for the Lions that they couldn't pull it out. Goff loses a fumble. It's just rough. It's just rough. There's not much to talk about. Both these teams are bad, but Bears finally hit a field goal to win a game. Thought for sure they were going to miss it. They get it at their own 21. They actually have an 18-play drive to finish, which is ridiculous. Direct snap, just short chunk, 7 yards, 5 yards, incomplete, 13 yards, penalty, incomplete, autoplay. It's just dink and dunk. That's all it is. 12 yards, -1, 12, 9, 1, no gain, 2-minute warning, 1 yard. They control the clock perfectly. I mean, this is a good drive by Andy Dalton. It really is. And then they kneel, they kick the field goal, they win the game. I get it. But the Lions had this one in the bag. We took them +10, and it was safe. It was safer than it ever could have been. I really think they would have won with Swift, and it's a bummer that he wasn't there. And this felt like the one they could have won. But they've had a few of these. This is the best 0-10-1 team of all time. How about that? Make that a promo. Should have beat the Vikings, lose on a last-second field goal. Should have beat the Steelers. Just nonsense in that game, but could have. Could have beat the Browns. Could have beat the Bears, last-second field goal. I mean, this is crazy. They've lost, let's see. How many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games by a combined 2, 4, 7, 9. 5 games by a combined 9 points. And you're 0-10-1. It's tough. I feel bad for Dan Campbell. They need a new offensive coordinator, and they need a new offense in general, but because Swift is such a good player. It's a shame that he went out of this game. I don't want to spend too much time on this one, but whatever. We hit +10. I mean, I feel good about that. You take the Lions and you hit them. There's no complaints really allowed. And then the Bills just dismantled the Saints entirely. There's not a whole lot to talk about on this one either. The wheels have fallen off of Trevor Siemian is the difference here. And they were so banged up they didn't have Ingram or Kamara. I took them plus the points. I didn't know Ingram wouldn't play. They just have nothing. They have no skill players on offense. They couldn't score on the Bills. Tre'Davious White out for the season for the Bills. Killer. Really going to hurt them. Really is. That's tough. You don't make up for a shutdown corner like that this late in the season, so it's going to be a hard time if they go against someone with serious ability. And I'm sure they will. But Josh Allen looks great. Still threw 2 interceptions. I still can't trust him in a big game. I'm sorry. Turned the ball over twice. This is just a runaway game, and I get it. It didn't matter. And their defense looked great against an inept offense. The Saints are beyond done. I wonder what Sean Payton's coaching career is going to look like after this season. I don't know how they rebuild this. They need a new everything. They just work the offense around Kamara when he's back, but you need a quarterback. I don't know if you want a game-managing quarterback. I think you want the deep threat to make Kamara better. That's why Jameis made sense, but it didn't work out. They're not going to bring him back. They're not going to bring Simeon back, and Breeze ain't walking through the door, nor do you want him to. And they have no receivers that are good. What happened? I wonder if at some point Sean Payton just moves on. Maybe I'm not giving the Bills enough credit here for winning 31-6 on the road on a short week. I'm probably not. I'm being a little picky, but they didn't run the ball particularly well. We knew that. Saints' run D is good, although they didn't need to, but they did run it 32 times, especially with a huge lead the entire game, and 3.5 yards per carry leaves some to be desired. They just kind of ran into the line and let the clock run out for the rest of the game, which is fine. They were up a ton, but I still don't love their skill players. I still can't trust Josh Allen in a big game, so I don't know. This team is what they are. The game to watch will be next week, and we'll get to the Patriots in a second, but Bills-Pats, I believe, is Monday night. The 6th is a Monday, yeah? Yes. Monday night, in front of all the eyes, on that Monday stream, we'll do a preview of it, because I think this game means a whole lot. And this Tre'Davious White injury, I don't like it for them. And I've seen bad writing on the wall with them anyway. Their big wins are like, yeah, I picked the Saints, so this is easy for me to say now, but now that you see their offense completely fall apart and have no skill players and Simeon not be able to do what he did the first couple of weeks, you're like, okay, they blew out a bad team on a short week. I get it. They blow out the Jets, but they're terrible. They beat the Dolphins. It's not even a blowout. They blew out the Texans, sure, and Washington, and the Dolphins. But any team that they played that's real, even the Steelers, they lose. They play the Chiefs. That is a good win, for sure. They play tight with the Titans and lose. They lose to the Jaguars. They lose big to the Colts. So I just need to see them against better teams. And this Patriots test will be the one. So we'll talk about that when it comes. Let's get into this week's games. I like a couple different things. Like I said, I have 3 picks that I really enjoy this week. But let's start from the top and see what we can get to and pick every game and then give the real coup de grace picks at the end. We'll start with Tennessee, New England, because this is one of the games I like the most. And it's no surprise that I think the Patriots are really good this year. I bet them to win the AFC at plus 725 or 750. I am looking forward to that Bills game next week. Of course, New England can't look ahead too far. They have Tennessee on the schedule, but Tennessee, I've been saying for weeks also, if you listen to the stream, and I hope you do, they were punching way above their weight for all the injuries that they had. This team is built around Derrick Henry, play action, tough defense, and 2 good receivers down the field. They now don't have Derrick Henry. They haven't been able to replace him with any sort of running game. None of those running backs have looked good for my money. Julio Jones is on the IR, and A.J. Brown is hurt, and I don't know what it looks like for him this weekend. Not A.J. Brown's. He's not playing. Ruled out. I mean, this is the team that you watch lose to the Texans and lose to the Jets. It's a tale of 2 teams. When they need Derrick Henry and health and receivers down the field to stretch it and give Henry space, or at least create a threat down the field. Or if they stack the box, Tannehill can throw it deep to them in single coverage, and you know it's going to be single coverage because you have to stack the box with 9 people. None of it works without all 3 of those players. You need actually all 3 of them. You at least need Henry and Brown to make it reasonable. And I don't know. I just watched this Tennessee team not move the ball against a Jets team and against a Texans team. And New England is playing, I don't know if they have the best defense in the league, but I'm comfortable with them saying top 3 for sure. New England is at home. I know the Vrabel and Belichick thing. It will be hard-nosed chess mental warfare. But the simple fact of the matter is Tennessee might not pick up first downs very easily in this game. They won't. I don't see how they move the ball. I don't see how they score very much. I don't think New England is going to drop 40 on Tennessee the way they did with Cleveland. But I can see it being more similar to that than this like maybe playoff game that we're previewing. Don't look at the Tennessee record and think this is anything but what it is, a really banged up team that's going to struggle to move the football. That's just what I see. And the only thing giving me pause is that this spread went up from 2.5 to 7. We knew Derrick Henry was already out. I know we watched Tennessee lose on the road to Houston and look terrible. And I know A.J. Brown is out. But A.J. Brown ain't worth 4.5 points going through a bunch of key numbers, 3, 4, and up to 7. And that Texans loss, were people that surprised by that? I liked the Texans last week. So that's a huge, huge reaction by Vegas, but I think also an appropriate one because this has blowout potential, and I think they're trying to hedge against that by getting people to take Tennessee plus 7, thinking the line is too big. So I like New England in every which way you can get them this week. I personally, on my best picks, will either be parlaying their money line or teasing them because I just trust them so much to win this game. Even if things go awry, I think Mac Jones is actually the better quarterback of these two and has all his weapons available. New England is very healthy. Hopefully I didn't just mush him. I felt it come out of my mouth, and you know what show you're watching. But they're very healthy. Tennessee is very banged up, reeling, has a couple bad losses. You've seen the warts on them already. I don't get why this game would be particularly close. But I definitely am confident in New England winning it. So take that for what you will. The Jets in Houston, look, there's a lot of weird close games this week, and there are fewer games on the docket because we had 3 Thursday. But I still don't want to waste too much time on these games that don't matter at all, right? And if we're talking about the Jets in Houston, it's like, if you're watching this game, God bless you. There's not even fantasy action in this game. There's really just nothing. Both these teams are horrible. There's no trying to figure out how horrible they are. They're horrible. They're 2 of the worst teams. They will both pick very high in the draft. They're both rebuilding still. Both teams will probably play hard because they know they can beat each other. And if you just look at this game, 2.5 point spread, you can get it at 3 at some places. It bounces around half a point here and there. I don't think you'll get a 3.5 anywhere because people would just take the Jets. But roughly at 3. I mean, just take the points, I guess. You don't feel comfortable betting the Jets on the road. I understand. But does anyone feel comfortable betting Houston as a favorite? I can't. In a game that's close and anything could happen, give me the points and the Jets, I guess. You get Zach Wilson back. Maybe he looks a little re-energized, happy to be back in the lineup. I don't know. This is just nuts. This game is a toilet bowl. Are these the two worst teams in the NFL? Because I don't necessarily think the Lions are worse than either one of them. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I've been preaching Lions, and we won the bet with them on Thanksgiving, and I'm thankful for it. Well, we didn't win the bet, but we won that leg of the teaser anyway. Jaguars, Jets, Texans, Jaguars, and Lions are the four really bad teams. I'm not throwing Seattle in there. Russell Wilson's just way too good compared to these people. But that's the Mount Rushmore of terrible teams in 2021. Jets, Houston, Jacksonville, and the Lions. And if you have any of those four teams playing another one of the four, why wouldn't you just take the points and see what happens? We're flipping coins here. Who knows what's going to happen in this game? Either of the teams can get blown out. I don't know. Just take the points with the Jets, and maybe it's a one-point game. Maybe nobody scores, and it's a 0-0 tie final. And you win. Cash it. I'm not taking Houston as a favorite. Philly and the Giants. I mean, how many times can it go back to the same well? How many times? What's the injury report like? This is a weird game for me. Jordan Howard out. Corner on Philly questionable. Rudolph and Tony not playing for the Giants. That's rough. Sterling Shepard questionable. Saquon will play. Is Sterling Shepard gonna play? Because they need... Galladay hasn't shown anything. Shepard out. Tony doubtful. And Galladay hasn't done a thing. And you have Saquon, but the Giants are going to need to score in this game. This could be a low-scoring game because I like the Giants' secondary a lot, but the fact of the matter is the Eagles aren't winning by throwing the football. They're winning by running the football. And the Giants' run D is this is weird statistics because the Giants' pass defense ranks 26th scoring-wise, and I just don't think they're that bad. They're not. But their rush defense is 22nd, and I actually think it is kind of that bad. So, oh, man. I've faded the Eagles 2 weeks in a row, and I came off of the second loss even saying, I still don't believe in the Eagles. I still don't think they're this good team. And then I see them as minus more than a field goal. It's getting up to 4 in some places. It's 3.5 mostly, and it's sticking there generally. But, man, Philly minus 3.5 on the road? Now you're telling me this is more than a touchdown at home? I don't know about that. I don't know if Philly should be more than a touchdown favorite against the Giants. I don't think the Giants are one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think they're bad. But I don't think they're on board with the other 4 teams that I just named in my Mount Rushmore of crap. Mount Mushmore. Oh, how about that? We can go somewhere with that. Mount Mushmore, the worst bushes I've had this season. I like it. We got to think about this. We got opportunities. Anyway. I just think divisional game, I don't know. See, if the Giants were healthy, I'm comfortable with them here. I assume that's baked into the price. Teams will play twice in the next 5 weeks. Eagles have won 9 of the last 10. Here's a weird narrative moment. New York is retiring Michael Strahan's jersey at halftime. Does that mean people actually go to this game and care? Because MetLife Stadium, as a Jet fan I know, it's easier to turn on the team than it is to root for them sometimes. And if the Giants come out and give up 7 on a 10-play drive where they get it run down their throat opening series, that stadium might not be nice to you. And the Eagles are rolling, and they're a really physical team. Ah, man, I don't know. This one has me wondering what to do. I don't have a good feel for it, if I'm being honest. The Eagles are definitely healthier. The Giants need to be able to score. Saquon Barkley has to be good. I don't believe in the Eagles either, and I know they're due for a crash back down to earth. I just don't know if it's here, and I don't know when it is because we've looked at it a couple times on the show. And why isn't this link working? Come on. Here we go. They don't have any tough games left. They have at the Giants, at the Jets. I'm going to say the same thing next week. If the Eagles win, I'm like, yeah, big deal. Bunch of wins in a row, but they're playing nobody. But then they continue to play nobody because they have the Jets, Washington, Giants, Washington, and then the Cowboys in the last game of the year. And if the Cowboys blow the last game of the year to a divisional opponent when they need it, is anyone going to be shocked? No. So is this just all set up for the Eagles? I don't know. I don't have a good feel on it. Sometimes you got to know when to tap out. I would never be betting this game in any way, any direction. I don't know. And for pool purposes, I don't know. I will decide this Sunday morning. I don't want to lead you astray. My gut instinct is to say that I'm not taking Philly as a 4-point road favorite in a divisional game against a team that isn't one of the worst in the NFL. But I haven't seen anything from Galladay, so I don't know if the Giants have anyone to throw it to not named Saquon Barkley. Kyle Rudolph, not going to put it on you. And Philly is more physical and imposing. Maybe you just take Philly and you say the spread is just this way because of all the injuries the Giants have. And Daniel Jones can definitely turn it over. And they just kind of rolled over against Tampa. So, I don't know. I don't want to give you something that I don't believe in. I'll decide that on Sunday. I'm not sure. Tampa, Indy. This one, okay. Tom Brady, I know this means mostly nothing. But Tom Brady has owned the Colts over his career. He has owned them. Going back to Peyton, but even sticking with him changing sides. I believe they've played already. And do they have this kind of stuff? They must. I know they have it for baseball. There's got to be splits for his career against a certain team. Yeah, opponent. Indianapolis Colts. He is 7-2. Oh no, that's the Texans. I'm sorry. He's 11-3. He is 11-3. I'll put it right up there. I'll put it here, actually, so you can see everything. But completion percentage, very high, 70%, 32 touchdowns, 15 picks, 102 passer rating. I mean, look, Brady does this to everybody. But playoffs, too. Can I go splits playoffs? I don't know if I can. But he's definitely played them there. In any case, he owns them. He owns them big time. Mike Evans injury stuff. Mike Evans returns to Bucs practice today. It looks like he will play. Good. Good. Because I'm leaning towards the Bucs here. And I'll tell you why. Matchup-wise, imagine I just didn't tell you one and I just moved on. That'd be great. Not worth the gag, but I think I should do that at some point. I'll tell you why, but I don't feel like it. We're moving on. No. Tampa, I think, is... Look, it's Brady versus Wentz, right? Let's just say that. Just nothing else included for now. Just think about that for a while. Anytime I have Brady and I have to give 3 or fewer, I'm pretty comfortable. That's literally against anyone. Indy is such a darling right now, and I have been on the Indy bandwagon for a while. I had them last week. I said they would win the game. I didn't know Taylor would go that bananas, but he has. The thing is, Tampa is by far the best run defense in the NFL. I was going to type by far. NFL run defense rankings. And I have been praising the Saints for this, but I know for a fact that... Yeah, I mean, technically the Saints still have better numbers, but Bucs are right there. Total rush yards, it's not even close. They're blowing out everyone. They're 100 yards ahead of the Ravens, who are 100 yards ahead of the Bengals. Washington football team, would you look at that? So, yeah, yards per carry, good. They don't allow touchdowns. Patriots are up here, of course. So are the Colts. 20-yard runs, they are right there. They've only given up 4 all year. Buccaneers haven't given up a single 40-yard run this season. Actually, a lot of teams haven't. Would you look at that? That's weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If this was a Broncos stat, I would say it's a horse of a different color. Hey, Broncos are here. Look at this. All right. Yeah, anyway. Now I'm stuck on the horse joke. I can't get away from it. Long face. All right. Bucks are the best run D in the league. Let's just say it. Look at that. Rushing first downs first. No fumbles, I don't care, but they just are. They're really elite. And the Colts just have to run the ball to succeed. They have to. The Bucks don't run the ball well themselves, but I think that's just more by design, so the stats lie to you a little bit. Because Fournette's not terrible. He's very capable. And Ronald Jones, actually, he gets memed on a lot, but he's a capable second runner also. And Gio Bernard plays the passing role. They have bodies there, and their line is good. And if you have Godwin out there healthy, and you have Evans out there healthy, Gronk is back, Tyler Johnson's there, Cam Brate, O.J. Howard, you have a lot of people. Antonio Brown, I assume, is still not playing. And I hate the guy, but he's a difference maker. Ruled out. You got to wonder what's happening with him, right? Weird. Something fishy, because he's been, like, iffy to play for, like, weeks in a row. And you're like, are they just holding him out? Do they know something that we don't know? Tinfoil hat. I need the tinfoil hat. I've said it twice now, and I still have the Frankenstein here. So maybe I'm just going to turn tinfoil hat into Frankenstein, and when I find some kind of crazy thing, it's a Frankenstein take. Maybe we do that. He's cute, though. Look at him. Cool. So you have Tom Brady healthy. You have everyone healthy for the Bucs except for Brown, but you have a plethora of weapons. You have this Colts defense that is definitely good, but also not the best in the league, and their secondary is beatable, right? Passing defense stats. I don't know how this is ranking this, and I don't particularly like this stat, but I'm just trying to find something quick. I mean, look at this. The Eagles aren't good. They allow 72% of passes to be complete against them. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. They should be losing games, and yet I still might pick them against the Giants this week. I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, Bucs secondary is very bad. Colts still allow 66%. Like, they're a middling defense. Yards per attempt is much better. A much better skew. And when you look at that, the Bucs are so much better in that number. I wonder why that is. And the Colts are middling. The Colts are just a middling defense. They're good. They're not elite. They've allowed the most passing touchdowns in the league. Look at that. They've turned the ball over a bunch too. So they're an opportunistic defense. But most passing touchdowns in the league? What about yardage? They're bottom 10. QB rating. They're down there, right? And I'm not preaching about the Bucs secondary, although I will say Sean Murphy Bunting came back for them and looked good. And so if you put a good corner into a really bad secondary, it definitely can change something. If you can take Michael Pittman not out of the game, but if you can neutralize him, their wide receivers aren't unbelievable, and Carson Wentz is prone to turnover. So you know that the Colts need to run the ball successfully to do well in this game. And I just think running down the throat of Tampa is not what you want to do. And then you look at the other side, and they really have to worry about how to slow down this Bucs offense. So I think the Colts need to start hot. I think they need Wentz to have a good game picking people down the field off of play action. I think he can't turn it over. You can't give Brady the ball too many times. You can say that for both teams. Both teams can't afford many turnovers because then you'll allow the Colts to run it on you. So throw that out the window, I guess. But there really is a factor that Wentz turns it over a lot more than Brady does. And I just can't find a way for me to want to take the Colts here in a nightmare matchup for them. I think this is probably the worst matchup in the NFL for the Colts. It is. It definitely is. Because you need to run it. This is the best run defense, and it's the best run defense with a team that can throw the football on you. If you're facing the Saints, you don't have to worry about them as much as the Bucks do, because you can probably keep this a low-scoring game and figure it out that way. The Bucks you have to score against. You're not going to hold them all the way down. Even Washington had to score 29 or whatever to beat them. Did I get it right? Yeah, 29-19, right? So they got to score 30. I don't know if the Colts are going to score 30 here. I don't know. I think it's going to throw them for a wrench. I think they need to do something interesting play call-wise because they can't slam it into the line with Taylor. They just can't. And if he just beats their run defense by himself, then God bless him. But I'll take my odds with Brady to win this game. And with the spread only being 3, I think it's a field goal game, and I don't think the spread matters that much. I'm more comfortable with Tampa money line. And we'll talk about that when picks time rolls around, but I do see value in the Tampa -3. I just think it's a bad matchup. I'm still high on the Colts and still very high on both these teams. But this is not who you want to play if you're the Colts. So I know people are in on them and they see like, oh, this is my normal take would be this is a playoff team getting +3 at home. That's nonsensical against a team that I've watched lose to the Washington football team. This is devil on the shoulder, an angel on the shoulder. I can't put Frankenstein back on the shoulder because he means a different thing now. But just the X's and O's of it don't add up to that for me on this one. We'll move on. Atlanta, Jacksonville. Look, this is so similar to how I feel about the Jets and Houston game. It's like, A, I don't care. B, this is two horrible teams. Atlanta might be, they're not on the Mount Mushmore of bad teams, but they're right there. They're like putting one of those rope ladders up to start chiseling their face next to it and just make it 5 instead of 4. But you can't take Jacksonville in anything. So for me, this is, I mean, of course they could win. Like, I don't know who's going to win this game. And it's the same. The other argument is I'm contradicting myself by saying you should just take the points in a game with two horrible teams. I don't think Atlanta is quite as horrible as Jacksonville, though. And matchup is dependent here, too. Because I just watched Jacksonville get eaten alive over the middle of the field with a running back that can catch it out of the backfield and run it and hurt you that way, and a really good tight end. The Niners crushed them with Deebo Samuel out of the backfield and George Kittle. Am I talking myself into a Falcons bet right now? Am I doing this? Because I don't have it right now, but I just don't want to I don't want to. I might, though. All right, back to it. Kittle over the middle, Deebo out of the backfield in multiple ways. Atlanta has Pitts over the middle and Cordarrelle Patterson out of the backfield in multiple ways. I assume they're both playing. Patterson seemed to be getting healthier. I'm going to need to throw the Cordarrelle in there. He's questionable, but I have a feeling he's going to play. It looked like he tried to suit up last Thursday. So I think I'm going to ride on him playing. If he doesn't, of course, that changes things. But that seemed like a recipe to just crush Jacksonville. I don't know if they have anything they can do about it. I can see Atlanta just stringing together like really good drives. The downside, I guess, is that Atlanta's offensive line is horrific, and Jacksonville can get after the quarterback, as we saw in the Buffalo game. This could be a Josh Allen kills Matt Ryan kind of game. So maybe I'm talking myself out of the bet a little bit, but I think the X's and O's are there for Atlanta to just exploit the middle of the field, have some long drives, and Jacksonville I just don't trust to do much at all. You can't take Jacksonville and stuff, right? So just take Atlanta. The X's and O's, the hugs and kisses just makes sense. But if you wanted to just say I'm taking the points because both these teams are awful, I get it. I do get it. Maybe I'll throw Atlanta into some kind of something, but I don't have it down for my official picks for now, unless it's some kind of epiphany or Sunday morning I'm looking for a Hail Mary. You know, that happens. Check the Twitter for that kind of stuff, at MikeTheMush Sports. Carolina, Miami. Wow. Another game that I can't describe in any other way than the other two awful ones we just described. Both these teams are a tier up from what we just talked about. This is like, I don't have a good reference. I was trying to scroll through the Rolodex of references and analogies. I don't have a good one. But this is just like a C tier instead of an F tier. These teams aren't good, but they're not gonna have the number one pick. Carolina has Christian McCaffrey. I don't like Carolina as much as some other people do. Their defense is a little bit frisky, and they have McCaffrey and they have weapons, but Cam Newton, I just don't trust at quarterback. I just don't think he's been good. I want to look up his stats from last week. Where am I? Panthers. Because in the Cardinals game, he played like 9 plays, and that's how he could be great. But then he started 21 for 27, but these stats seem misleading. I don't know. I watched a lot of this. I don't think he looked particularly good. And 21 completions for 189 yards means he was really just dumping it to McCaffrey. I mean, yeah. 8 targets. I don't think you can trust him to get Robbie Anderson the ball down the field. I don't trust him to get DJ Moore the ball. Carolina has some gadgety stuff they can do, which scares me in this game a little bit. Because Miami is going to bring an extreme amount of pressure, especially on third downs. They've been doing it nonstop. And why do I trust Cam Newton as a road favorite in a game where I know he's going to have to execute throws quickly and accurately against a blitz, or he's going to get destroyed? Now, if you're going to tell me they're going to blitz and then Cam's going to break a tackle and run it for like 20 yards, and he does that 5 different times and he just kind of breaks the game, okay. But I also think there's a very, very, very reasonable world where Miami gets there a couple times, forces some 3rd and longs, and I don't trust Cam Newton in a 3rd and long, especially against pressure. I can't take them as a favorite. I just can't. McCaffrey could have a ton of success. They can, if Matt Rule figures out the gadget plays, the perfect screen passes at the right time to break a blitz to either McCaffrey or Moore. If Cam can connect once to Robbie Anderson down the field against a blitz, Miami is playing engage 8, risk everything on a lot of different plays. But I just think that might work against a bad quarterback, and I think Cam is a bad quarterback. So I can't take him as a road favorite in a game where I'm concerned about that. And by the way, Miami, this is a wild thing to say, but could Miami make the playoffs? They have 3 wins in a row. They ripped off a lot of losses in a row, but let's look at them. They beat the Patriots, who I think are really good. They get smoked by the Bills in a weird game. Bills are pretty good. Raiders beat them in a close one. Raiders just beat the Cowboys. They lose to the Colts. Game's actually close, and the Colts are very good. They lose to the Bucks. Now, this loss to the Jaguars made everyone go, oh, God, okay, it's over. They had just lost a bunch of, at the time, they were 4. But these 3 games, these are tough games. So it was still fine. And then they lose to the Jaguars, but this game's in London, right? In London? Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So, I don't know. And what happened in the game? I mean, Tua threw it pretty well. They don't fumble. They have 1 turnover. And Lawrence just does turn it over. I don't understand why this game happened this way. I don't remember it, per se. Not an early bird. Those London games are not for me. They are for the birds. The early birds. I don't know, but this game's weird. So if you just throw that one out, then they come back. They lose a close one to the Falcons, who we know can score. They lose to the Bills, but this was a close game. They fixed a lot of the problems that they lost 35-0 in. And so, a lot of these games were with Jacoby Brissett, by the way. And then they beat the Texans, they beat the Ravens, and they beat the Jets. They're taking care of business. You look at this and you go, okay, if they win against the Panthers, which I'm proposing, they are 5-7. Then they get the Jets and the Giants. They could be 7-7 with the Saints, Titans, and Patriots left on the schedule. Now that's brutal, and they might lose those 3, or they might go 8-9. But they might rip off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in a row. It's possible. And that could get you in. Because you go back to the standings and you go to the playoff standings. I don't think it will. But there's a path to... They just have to jump too many teams, I guess. That's probably the issue. So I don't think it's going to happen. But it also wouldn't shock me if the Bengals, Chargers, Steelers, and Raiders, and Browns, and Broncos stumble. You know, it's too many teams to jump. I get it. Point is, the Dolphins could end up better than you think they are. They might just be a team hovering around 500, and they just had a bunch of losses. I think people are out on them a little too fast. I also have been a believer in Tua. Let's see what their injury status is. Injury report, Miami Dolphins. I don't want to use their website, really. Campbell out at safety. Shaheen out. Fuller not playing. Parker not playing. I mean, that's what sucks. They don't have receivers. You know? And Albert Wilson. Waddle's awesome. So he's a weapon. Their weapons aren't nearly as good as Carolina's. Waddle, they need Gesicki to be good. Preston Williams, Myles Gaskin. They signed Phillip Lindsay? That was fast. They claimed him off waivers. Can he play this week? Because he can play. I think a change of scenery could end up being good for him. It doesn't say. In any case, I just don't think Miami is as awful as people think they are. And I think this defense can do some things. And I think a defense that can do some things against a Cam Newton-led offense is pretty good, especially considering you're getting them as a home dog. So give me Miami plus the points at home for pool purposes, but I could see maybe teasing them up. I could see maybe teasing them up and getting a really good line on that. It's possible. Internet issues. Give me a moment. We're reconnecting. We're good. How about Pittsburgh, Cincinnati? I don't know about Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. The injury report for Pittsburgh is so important here. It really is. And TJ Watt looks like he's going to play, but I'm not going to bother looking up how these players are, because if they're playing at like 50%, that's not necessarily good. And I just have a feeling Pittsburgh is needing these guys to come back really fast. What about Minka? Because he was COVID list, right? Yeah. Minka is playing. So they're getting their horses back, and I think their defense looked so bad because they had nobody against the Chargers team that could kind of move the football, and they still competed in that one. This game is just too close for me to call or want to bet. And I think Pittsburgh is just solid, and I think these teams are about even. And the spread reflects it, and the extra point you're getting at home, the -4, is pretty much just because Pittsburgh was banged up. Cincinnati should be able to move the ball on them, I think. I really do like their running game against Pittsburgh that hasn't stuffed the run very well. Their secondary is good, but I can see holes in their running attack. And I could see this crowd being loud, and I could see Cincinnati rallying behind that. But I don't really feel comfortable laying 4 points on it. If you wanted to slip Cincinnati money line into something, I guess I understand that. But I wouldn't lay 4 points with this Cincinnati team. I think they are better than Pittsburgh, gun to head. I think they're better. But in one divisional game that has a lot on the line for both these teams, I think Pittsburgh has the edge in experience and coaching. I think Big Ben is so much worse than Burrow. So that's why I like Cincinnati to win. But I'm not going to be at all shocked if this is a field goal game. And the fact that the spread is 4 and not 3, or 3.5 and not 3, I think I just have to take Pittsburgh. I really do think that hook is important, and that extra point is important. So give me Pittsburgh plus the points just because everyone's back. And the thing that scares me is, are they actually back? Like, are they healthy, or are they just gutting it out and playing? We'll see. Because that defense is really bad if they're not at full strength. They don't have a lot of good depth, but they have a lot of star power, and all that star power was gone. So I think you're going to see a different defense from them. And they can win this game. Like, it's definitely possible. I understand if you like Pittsburgh moneyline too. It's just divisional game. This seems like a war for a playoff spot, so I'll take the 4 points when I think it'll be that close. So give me that. And honestly, I'm talking myself into this too. I don't have it in my picks either, but now that I'm thinking about it, if you wanted to tease Pittsburgh up to 10, that seems good. I don't think they get blown out. That'd be weird. So keep an eye on that. Chargers and Denver. There's a lot of close games this week that are going to be like, I need to learn more about these. I can't wait for Monday's stream when we can talk about what happened. The show on Monday is going to be like a lot of diving into these situations and box scores. I'm going to try to take notes throughout Sunday because I'm excited for a lot of these games. They feel like measuring stick games as the playoff run really starts. This is the first week that it feels like, okay, let's go. Nose to the grindstone. Why is that a saying? Nose to the grindstone? Why would anyone put their nose to the grindstone? Is that a saying? No, it is. Okay. It's a song by Tyler Childers. 2015. We won't play it because it'll get pulled down for copyright, but good for that guy. Etymology is the... oh, it's with a Y. I'm sorry. Etymology. That's the description of what it means, right? Comes from the supposed habit of millers who checked that the stones used for grinding cereal weren't overheating by putting their nose to the stone in order to smell any burning. Aha. Okay. Now you know. Huge. Anywho, Chargers, Denver. These are two teams that I don't have my finger on the pulse for. I know the Chargers defense is bad, and I think Denver can run the football. I know Javonte Williams is awesome. I know he's awesome. Why does Melvin Gordon get the ball so much? Running stats. Like, the fact that he has more carries is nonsense. At some point, they're going to unleash Javonte Williams. He's been way better. I know these stats don't bear it out. They look similar. But just watch him. He is better. Gordon might be better in the red zone. But he's going to have a game at some point where he shows how awesome he is. And the Chargers' run defense is so, so bad. I know they're the sexier team. I know they have Herbert, who's the better quarterback. They have the better weapons. I get all of it. I just think the hugs and kisses of this one is Chargers run D is horrific, and I'm expecting Denver to run the ball well like they have all year and better when they unleash Williams. So I'm calling this as the Javonte Williams breakout game. Maybe obvious, maybe not. He's my daily fantasy play this week. He's as many stocks of Javonte Williams as you can get him. I think they run all over the Chargers and make it an uphill battle for Herbert and company. And the Chargers just find ways to blow games too. Let's not forget that. Look at the Steelers game last week. So they're road favorites in a tough place to play, a divisional game, and I think the spread is wrong. So give me Denver with points. It's the same way I feel about Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, these divisional games. It's the same way I feel about Miami, Carolina. Like, in these close games, you take the points. Why not? I feel like we're getting free points here when Denver has a clear path to victory to me. So give me the 2.5. Javonte Williams, big against the Chargers' run defense, which was basically non-existent. Minnesota, San Francisco. I feel like a broken record here. But how do you turn down the points in this game with Minnesota, who has only played close games all year? San Francisco has been good, but flawed at many steps of the way. maybe San Francisco wins it. Maybe Minnesota wins it. No one's going to be shocked by either. And I feel like San Francisco doesn't have a huge home field advantage. They never win there. So don't tell me they're getting 3 points for being at home. They've been terrible at home. And honestly, road teams have been better than home teams all season. So take that for what it's worth, which I have no idea. I'm picking a mixture this week. It's not necessarily factoring in for me, but it is a stat that exists, and at some point we'll need to talk about it. But yeah, I just don't see a lot of home field advantage. I don't see anything glaring in the matchups aside from Justin Jefferson should be able to do whatever he wants. Minnesota has all the skill players in the world to deal with San Francisco defense, who's good, but not unbelievable. San Francisco's offense is good. These are two middling teams, and they're battling. But I'm getting Minnesota, who plays close games always and has leads always, and I'm getting 3 points with them. And I just see this being a field goal game. So I can't turn down the 3. It's not that I'm against either team or for either team. I just think it's too close to call, and I'll take 3 points instead of laying 3 points for a team that I don't think is unbelievable at home or anything. And, yeah, I mean, Debo is unbelievable. Like, he can break any game, but so can Dalvin Cook. And so can Jefferson. So, I don't know. I don't trust either quarterback a ton, but Kirk Cousins has played better than Jimmy G. Both defenses have flaws, but I think Minnesota's is getting better. I think San Francisco's is getting better too, actually. These teams are pretty parallel. They really move in similar directions as far as season narratives go. They're both relatively healthy, although San Francisco's running backs I don't really trust, but since they put Debo back there and unlocked that, I'm definitely not worried about it. And Ayuk has been better since Debo has been not playing his exact position. But Minnesota can throw it down the field better if they need to, so even if they're behind, I can see them coming back easier than I can see San Francisco coming back from a deficit. And I just like the 3 instead of laying the 3, so give me Minnesota with the points. I see this as a teaser option too. Like, you could push them up in a game that you think will be pretty close. You definitely could. Rams in Green Bay, this is a tough one. We only have 2 more games, and then Seattle, Washington, as always, we'll talk about on Monday. But I'll get into it quickly. But Rams in Green Bay, this just seems so disrespectful to Green Bay to me. I know Rodgers is hurt and not practicing, but he was hurt last week and threw for 4 touchdowns and looked amazing against a Vikings team that's pretty good, and that was on the road. This Rams team is really good defensively, so if Donald just ruins it, it's disrespectful to Green Bay until you realize that Green Bay has Bakhtiari's not playing, right? How'd I do? I spelled it right. No, I didn't. Yeah, I did. Okay, H. Got it. Follow-up surgery on his knee. I didn't even see this. He's ruled out, so he's not playing. Did not face a setback, he said. However, okay. Maybe it was just a cleanup procedure. I mean, who really knows? In any case, he's not playing in this game, and the backup left tackle last week is out for the season. So you have a nothing left tackle and an injured offensive line protecting an injured Aaron Rodgers against a really vicious Rams team. I know how bad that looks, and I know that it can break this game. It definitely can. But I just think, is Aaron Jones playing? He practiced Friday, so it's definitely possible that he could play. I mean, stay tuned for that Sunday morning or afternoon before the kickoff, before you decide on this one, I suppose. But this just feels too disrespectful to Green Bay. Why are Green Bay underdogs to anyone at home? They really shouldn't be. Rodgers is playing. He might be hurt, but he's playing, and he proved that he can play through the pain and do well last week. They shouldn't be underdogs at home. And the Rams have lost a bunch of times. We don't know that Stafford is healthy. He's looked a little weird lately. I don't know. I think Green Bay deserves to be favorites at home. You want to say they're not -3, fine. But they should be the -1, not the Rams. The Rams have a Robert Woods problem. Is Odell going to step into those shoes? I don't know. Maybe. He's definitely going to try. I just kind of think that you got to call Vegas out for the nonsense here. I have to. I have to side with Green Bay getting points at home against any team in the NFL. I'll say that. Maybe Tampa. but not the Rams right now the way they are. They're coming off a bye, and their coach is good for game planning, that kind of stuff. But Green Bay has a good defense. They don't have weaknesses. I'm just calling Vegas out for nonsense here. And if the Green Bay offensive line gets run over because they don't have a left tackle, then I will admit defeat, and I understand it. And I won't be betting Green Bay unless I teased them up. Maybe a 7-point teaser with Green Bay up to 8. That I would really like. But the problem with it is if they just get blown up on the offensive line and it becomes just a really ugly day and Rodgers gets beat up, maybe he leaves the game. I don't want, that whole thing I don't like. But for pool purposes, at least, I definitely will take the points at home with Green Bay. I just think it's disrespectful. Cleveland, Baltimore, this spread is so stupid. Lamar Jackson is playing, right? This is a weird one because I don't know what choice you have, right? But 120% he'll face the Browns. I mean, whatever that means. Full participants in practice for Baker and Lamar to end the week. So they're both going to play. But Baker is hurt. He's looked horrible playing injured, and they refuse to go to Case Keenum. I know Baltimore's secondary has issues, and their defense hasn't been that good this year. But Cleveland's offense is not sustainably good if they have a quarterback that can't play. And they haven't turned to Case Keenum at all. And they should, but they haven't. So why am I taking Cleveland with a one-arm quarterback? I can't ever. Chubb is back. Great. Hunt might be back. Great. They'll run the ball. It'll look good for a while. And I just still have to trust Baltimore to win the game because I can't trust Cleveland to do it. They looked awful against Detroit. They've been so hamstrung by not having a quarterback that's healthy there. A healthy Baker is different, but that's not what we have. And it's not what we're going to have for the rest of the whole season. So why am I taking Cleveland here? They're trying to trick people into taking the 3.5 because you're getting the hook with like a playoff team against another playoff team. Yeah, I get it, but I see through it. I refuse to be on the side of Baker with one arm. I just refuse. I cannot. And if you have Lamar healthy and Hollywood Brown should be playing, let's make sure. It's questionable, but I think he was practicing. Return to practice limited Wednesday. That means he's going to play. Because if you're getting out on the field on a Wednesday, you should be fine. And he didn't get set back. And Baltimore at home in a night game, they're hard to beat in that scenario. I don't trust Cleveland to win games. I love Baltimore money line. That'll be the Hail Mary night play. I don't have it on my official picks. But if I go down during the day, you better believe I'm going to be, or big, up big. How about we say that? Either way, you want that Sunday night pocket game to decide on, and Baltimore is my side. I like Baltimore. I especially like them to win, but I'll lay the 3.5, honestly, because I can't trust Baker on the road, hostile territory. Good defense, bad defense, doesn't matter. Can't trust him from what I've seen this year. Last game is Seattle and Washington. Seattle's been so bad. It's so hard to understand. Russell Wilson hasn't looked good, but I will die on the sword for Russell Wilson always. He has his receivers out there. Their team has been horrible. Their defense hasn't done anything, and I understand that Washington definitely could be the right side of this game. It's pretty much a pick'em, but I can't. I don't have it in me to take Taylor Heineke, who's been pretty good. He really has, and Washington has some skill players that I like. But I can't take Taylor Heineke against Russell Wilson without having. I don't have to give points with Russ, and I might be getting one. I just have to take it and have to assume that he has the big game in his back pocket, and eventually you're going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot he could just throw 70-yard touchdowns to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And so I'm waiting for it, and if it doesn't ever come again with Seattle, I won't be that surprised. This year is terrible for them. We'll talk about this more on Monday. I like to cover it Monday after we've seen what's happened over the weekend. But if you have to pick for a pool, give me Russell Wilson. I'm just hoping for the turnaround. I don't know if it's naive or what, but I think he can turn it around. We'll see if he can. I don't know. That's a wrap on those. And the only thing left is how I'm going to formulate these picks. Let's read them off. The official picks. Turkey Day didn't go great. We hit on the Lions. but we didn't hit on the Cowboys, and it ruined the parlay. Teaser it was. This week, we're diving back in because I really believed in what we did. And I have 3 different picks that I like, none of which are straight up. First one is Patriots plus Bucks. Patriots home against the Titans, Bucks on the road against the Colts. We talked about both games. You can get the Patriots and the Bucks at plus 118. I think they both win. It's the Brady-Belichick combo. When does that go wrong? So that's probably my favorite one. Then I'm going to use the Patriots as an anchor team here and do another one with the Patriots. Patriots money line and Ravens money line, home against the Browns. We just talked about it. That's plus 107. I like both of those at positive odds. Then I'm going to do an underdog teaser, 7-point teaser. Dolphins plus 9 against the Panthers. I don't see why that game wouldn't at least be close. I think the Dolphins can definitely win. And Vikings plus 10 on the road in San Francisco. Like, same thing. I think they can win the game, but I'm getting more than a score. I'm comfortable with those. So that's what we like for this week. I gave some other leans that I will think about, but that's pretty much what we do. We're going to have a winning week. I think so. It's going to go well. On the heels of Thanksgiving. Got to be thankful for the gambling gods smiling upon us. And if we mush it, it's good content. We like that. I will see y'all on Monday. Have a good weekend. Follow at MikeMushSports on Twitter and Instagram. Follow on Twitch and YouTube if you can. Subscribe on YouTube. It all helps the channel. And peace out.